WWE wants Sting to return for the Hall of Fame. The former Alberto Del Rio suspended for attacking a fan. And we're lucky we even got an AEW Dynamite as the weather caused major travel issues. I'm Luke Owen and this is the WrestleTalk News.
Support WrestleTalk!
By now, most of you will have seen the video of Rhea Ripley chopping Buddy Matthews at their home so hard that it caused Buddy to sound even more Australian than I've ever heard him before. You've probably also seen the very fun video posted by new WWE signee Jordynne Grace, where the stars of NXT do some wacky poses and dances. And now Grace has shared a behind-the-scenes look at the making of that video, revealing just how hard Guilia headbutted her phone to do the transition.
Oh my God! Okay?
Bloody hell, be careful, Julia. You're already injured. Don't make it worse. Sticking with WWE, it was revealed last week that Lex Luger would be heading into the WWE Hall of Fame as part of the 2025 class. So the question now is, who inducts him? And the obvious answer would be Sting. Problem there is that Sting is contracted to an AEW Legends deal. And Fightful Select are reporting that Luger has informed WWE that Sting is his preferred choice to induct him, and that WWE was planning to make overtures, if they hadn't already, about making that happen. They also add it's worth noting Sting had told people he probably wouldn't be able to do it because of his AEW deal. When Sting had his retirement match at last year's Revolution, several wrestlers under WWE Legends deal were able to attend, with the caveat that they don't appear on screen. So fingers crossed, something can be worked out. The Hall of Fame is pretty famous for wrestlers going over time in their speeches. And speaking of fine speeches, how's this for a segue? John Cena's promo from Raw reportedly went over time. Boom. John Cena cut his first promo since turning heel in front of the Brussels crowd on this week's episode of Raw, with the segment, including the return promo from Cody Rhodes, going over 30 minutes. According to WrestleVote on their Q&A Backstage Pass podcast, this went longer than planned and several things had to be trimmed to ensure the show still ran to 2.5 hours. While they couldn't say for certain, they think that the Jey Uso and Austin Theory match was part of the cutting treatment, as it was originally listed on production documents as going 11 minutes rather than the 60-second squash match. We've got more wrestling news coming up in a moment, and my review of AEW Dynamite featuring Jon Moxley literally getting stabbed in the back. But first, here's a word from today's video sponsor, Magic Spoon.
What is it you love, Tempest?
Boring food.
And what is it you hate?
Exciting, delicious, high-protein food like Magic Spoon. Perfect for somebody practicing a low-carb lifestyle.
Exactly. Now you must try my plain bread sandwich with an extra filling of bread.
Boring.
Hey guys. Oh, Tempest. There you are. I've been looking for you.
Out with you, Luke. He's mine now. He only wants boring food.
But what about the Magic Spoon?
Don't say it, Luke. Don't say the words.
Hold on. Pete, have you ever tried Magic Spoon before?
Well, no. I grew up in a boring town, on a boring street, in a boring house with boring parents.
We'll try it today! Use the code WrestleTalk or click the link in the video description to try Magic Spoon Treats or Granola today and get $5 off. You can also find Magic Spoon on Amazon or in your nearest grocery store. And Magic Spoon is so confident in their product, it's backed with a 100% happiness guarantee online. So if you don't like it for any reason, they'll refund you your money, no questions asked. So click the link in the description or go to magicspoon.com/WrestleTalk, scan the QR code on screen for $5 off.
No, but this is my whole identity. I've been defined by my boringness.
Here comes the aeroplane.
Oh my goodness. The delicious taste. The crunchy goodness. The suitability for my low-carb lifestyle. This is amazing.
You see, Pete, you don't have to be boring.
But what about Tempest? I've psychologically altered him now. What do we do?
I love Lance Storm promos.
Oh, quick, eat this.
Say, gentlemen, what a bally thing it is to be boring.
And like all non-boring people, he now speaks like an aristocrat from the 1920s. Hooray!
Magic Spoon will not make you speak like an aristocrat from the 1920s. It's very delicious, tasty, and most importantly yummy, but will not make you sound like someone from Jews and Worcester. Only excessive exposure to the books of P.G. Woodhouse will make you speak like that. But Magic Spoon does not endorse that lifestyle, even if the books are really bloody good.
Right, should we go then?
Yeah.
Yeah, good idea.
Oh, nice.
Fingers with me.
I'm going this way.
It's a bulldog.
Before we get into the AEW Dynamite review, there was an incident last Friday at a AAA show in Tijuana where it is believed that some fans started throwing coins at Alberto El Patrón, the former Alberto Del Rio, after his match. Patrón went into the crowd but couldn't reach the fans, instead throwing a chair in their direction before getting hit by a chair himself. Rob Viper posted on Twitter, another fan seeing this then throws a chair hitting Alberto in the head, which starts a slight melee with people throwing things. One story going around is an old lady got hit by a flying chair at some point and ended up in hospital. And now the commission that oversees wrestling in Tijuana has announced that Patrón has been suspended from wrestling in the city for 180 days. Patrón is the current AAA Mega Champion, but this ban should not affect their creative plans. Rob Viper explains on Twitter that while AAA's affiliate partners run shows in the city once a month, AAA are not running Triple Mania Tijuana this year. Speaking of chaos, and last night's AEW Dynamite was affected by the severe weather conditions in Omaha, which saw massive amounts of snow. Dave Meltzer reported via Twitter that several flights for wrestlers had been cancelled, noting that some of them were flying into Kansas or Des Moines and then driving over to get to the show on time. This meant that there was some worry of the card needing to change, and putting on the show together will be chaotic. Brian Alvarez noted on Wrestling Observer Live that Jon Moxley drove 11 hours to make the show. Sure hope it was worth it, bud. So let's get into it, because it's Thursday and you know what that means. It's time for my review of AEW Dynamite, aka This is even more painful than it looks edition of AEW Dynamite. Despite the travel issues, this felt like a massive edition of Dynamite, given there were 2 title matches and a 4-way between Orange Cassidy, Mark Davis, Speedball Mike Bailey, and Ricochet to crown the new #1 contender to Kenny Omega's International Championship, which kicked off the episode. Now, I mean this in the best possible way, but I got real flashbacks to the 2017 indie era of wrestling, as Orange Cassidy did a simple roll in the ring and the crowd, having as much fun as the wrestlers, chanted holy S at him. It also took me back because it was delightful seeing Mark Davis wrestle outside of the tag scene, because it reminded me how much I used to love Dunkzilla. And he was in full-on beast mode in this match against the 3 other speedy dudes, constantly overpowering them, meaning they had to work together to take him down. Problem there was that Ricochet was either getting thrown out of the match or running away from the action, at one point even joining the commentary desk to avoid Davis. This was tremendous action and so much fun, but featured a wacky finish, where Speedball got a backslide on Davis and Ricochet leaped over to join the pin, meaning both men were announced as the winner and the Dynasty match will be a 3-way. While this was a great match, this was a fairly clunky way of getting there. The Hurt Syndicate cut a video promo and Billy Starks took on Mercedes Moné for the TBS Championship. Fun fact, Billy Starks is just 20 years old. When she was born, John Cena had started his 2nd reign as the United States Champion, having beaten Booker T at No Mercy and beat Jesus at Armageddon after he accused him of stabbing him in a nightclub. To give it some AEW perspective, Cope had just turned heel on Chris Benoit after they lost the tag titles, and Shelton Benjamin had just won his first IC title from Chris Jericho. Point is, that doesn't feel very long ago, and I'm basically dust at this point. Anywho, this was a very good match and featured a very scary bump when Starks flipped over Moné for a driver of sorts into a pinfall, but Moné's foot was stuck all the way in the ropes. Starks then missed a senton and landed on the apron, meaning Moné was able to lock in the statement maker for the tap-out win. Moné later cut a promo saying that whoever trained Starks or mentored her had failed, which means my hopes that Starks was the Silver Surfer warning of the incoming Galactus could be coming to fruition. MJF cut a promo saying he would give his answer to the Hurt Syndicate next week, and Cope took on Jon Moxley for the AEW World Championship in the match that they probably should have had at AEW Revolution. But I get why their Revolution match was not a street fight. You had the Hollywood ending and the cage match on the same show. Doing this would have felt like overkill. And speaking of overkill, this match will be remembered for the spot where Cope suplexed Jon Moxley onto the board with nails, literally stabbed him in the back. Watching Wheeler Yuta try to remove it while actually tearing Jon Moxley's flesh was the definition of for the sickos, and I loved it. This is Jon Moxley right here. This is CZW on national television and streaming on Max. But it's also a Death Riders match, so here come the run-ins. Wheeler Yuta ran in and Cope powerbombed him through a table. Claudio and Pac returned and brawled with Cope. FTR ran down and took them out, which led to Cope hitting Mox with a spear through a table, but Marina Shafir ran down to break up that pin, and Willow Nightingale ran down to take her out. Then Nick Wayne and Kip Sabian of the Patriarchy ran down to beat up Cope, leading to Mox locking in the Bulldog choke for the retention. Got that all in one take. Interestingly, after the match, as FTR were helping Cope up, Dax Harwood walked away from them, clearly frustrated that Cope could not get the job done. He even pushed Cash Wheeler away. It was a hell of a match and an intriguing post-match angle and a cracking way to end off this week's Dynamite. What do you mean there's 30 minutes left? Yeah, unlike Revolution, where Cope and Moxley's stinker of a match was a limp way to end the show, this brutal brawl meant the following matches felt like filler. Bandito set up a collision match with Johnny TV and Will Ospreay beat AR Fox in a fun match. Hangman Page declared himself for the Owen. We got a video promo for Julia Hart versus Queen Arminada, and the main event was Megan Bayne versus Chris Statlander in a pseudo #1 contenders match for the timeless Toni Storm title reign. They had a decent main event that wasn't heated early, but the crowd got into it during the final third when the power and strength of both Megan and Stat was on show. Bayne threw Statlander into Toni on commentary and hit the F5 on the floor. She hit another one in the ring for the win, then had a brawl with Storm and saw the timeless one stand tall. She then cut a promo challenging her to Dynasty, noting that the bigger they are, the harder they come, and ended with the line, and I quote, "I will make your thighs shake and your body quake, and I will leave with this strap on, for I am timeless Toni Storm, and I'm going to rip your tits off." Poetry. It was a good closing angle, but nothing topped what Cope and Mox did in their match because of, you know, all the mad violence. But this was a very good edition of AEW Dynamite regardless. Now, myself and Ollie Davis recorded a 4-hour podcast the other day talking about the 2003 Daredevil movie, which came out before Billy Starks was born, and that'll be out next week. So in the meantime, why not check out this preview of our deep dive review of last year's pretty terrible Kraven the Hunter.